Just sit here.
Okay. Oh, so good evening, everybody. We will just wait a few minutes to see whether anybody joins us. If you're joining us, just put a hi, let us know that you're there. If you haven't given StreamYard your permission to use your name, if you ask a question or you want to know some more details, please add your name after the comment, else it would just come up as Facebook user. So tonight this is our first evening of our evenings with, and we have with us this evening the lovely Martine Wakefield. Good evening, Martine.
Yeah, good evening to you too.
And Martine, tonight she's going to be explaining to us all about her back to life therapy, or BTL. I keep wanting to call it BLT.
But that's how you remember it.
Yeah. So Martine, can you just explain a little bit about what your therapy is about?
Well, basically, BTL, Back to Life, is actually looking at memories that you've got from the age of 0 to 7, and it's those memories there that put filters in our energy system, and it's from those filters we live the rest of our life. And some of those filters aren't necessarily good ones, and so you can have a reoccurring negative situation that in your life regularly all through your life. And so the idea of Back to Life is going back to one of those memories and changing it. And when you actually change it through the process that I use, the filter actually is removed permanently, so it can never have an effect on you, on your life ever again. It's completely gone, and your life changes. It's as simple as that. And a lot of the people out there, they come with all kinds of different things, but I've noticed that people that come and move even the smallest memory and change it actually leave with a healing happening, a physical healing happening in the body. So that's why I love doing it.
Good. And how long have you been doing it for now?
3 years, maybe about 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, I've done quite a lot. I've seen quite a lot of people in that time, and everybody's different, and people come with all kinds of things, phobias particularly. I mean, I know it sounds a bit flippant, but phobias are really easy to shift.
To shift, yeah.
And the thing is, people are frightened to come and work with a phobia because they think they're going to relive some traumatic experience, say, for instance, the snake or a banana. Even one lady came with a banana phobia, but the thing is, you find the memory, it's got nothing to do with a snake or a spider or a banana. It can be about an ice lolly or some pebbles. It can be anything, something a teacher said at school, or they are such what you think really they're really ridiculous memories when you consider the huge effect it has on the rest of your life. And so phobias are really easy to remove, and traumas. People think they're going to relive some horrendous trauma, but they don't. And they don't understand. They come with a preconceived idea that, I've got this terrible thing happened to me when I was 38, and I need to deal with that, and I'm trying to explain to them, but it won't be anything to do with that. But yes, but so and so died, or I got hit by a car, or that kind of thing. And sometimes I have to actually deal with them with that memory, which it actually is not a filter of any kind, and so it doesn't change anything because you're living from the filter.
Yeah.
You know, so things just keep repeating themselves in your life, or you keep having the same reaction over and over again to a different experience, but it's the same reaction. So unless you actually move the filter, nothing changes.
Yeah.
And so I have to get them off that track that they desperately need to change something age 25 and 35 or 38, and have to sort of wean them back to the actual filter. And so basically I work with emotions,
Right.
because
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
emotions. So
Yeah.
talking to somebody actually creates an emotion, and then I can just work with that and go straight into a memory that they don't even know they remember, but suddenly
Yeah.
they do remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
change it.
And we're quite an emotional beings as well, aren't we? We kind of live off of our emotions, especially
Yeah,
like the stress, fight and fear,
yeah.
fight and flight
I mean, the,
emotions.
the body only does what the mind tells it to.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, you know. And we have all those thoughts, and all those thoughts keep bouncing from the filters. Well,
Yeah.
we've got thousands of filters, but they're not all bad. You know, I mean, we've got good, like you know, how much your mum and dad actually love you. If you grow up in that loving, knowing that you're loved and cherished and encouraged, you know, then those children don't have the same filters
Yeah.
as those in a less loving family, but they could pick them up from teachers at school, their friends' parents. And a lot of people have filters because they heard something said
Yeah.
about them, and
Yeah.
so there goes your filter.
Yeah. And sometimes as well, if I'm right, it's like how we perceive things, how we process things.
Mm,
So would I be right in saying from the way that I work and the way that I work with my clients, when we have issues, you don't have to have had a traumatic experience or a traumatic upbringing to
no,
have a negative emotion as an adult? Would that be
no,
right?
but it would still come from a filter.
Yeah,
It will still come from a filter. Our whole life comes from filters because, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to think of the name now. The Greek philosopher Aristotle. I mean, how old's he? How long ago are we going back with him? He said, "It give me the child up to the age of 7, and I'll show you the man." So they knew it then, all
yeah,
those all those years ago, you know. And everything that goes in from 0 to 7 creates the person that you will be for the rest of your life. And
yeah,
that's really sad, because we're all trying to change. I mean, the society we live in now, you know, everybody's trying to change themselves and be better, and you know, and some people find that so difficult because of the filters they've got, and it's
yeah,
like they're constantly fighting against a losing battle. And actually they are, because whilst the filter's there, unless they can see it, recognize it, and change it, it's just always there. And
yeah,
that's the sad thing. So, you know, for me, the more people I can help shift some of those filters, you know, the
yeah,
better.
yeah.
You
So
know.
how did you come across this therapy?
Oh, well, I won't tell you the whole story because we'll be here for ages.
Well, you can tell we got time.
Yeah, no, I don't think you've got that long. About 2 hours. No, I mean, so really for me, I started off learning all kinds of different healing modalities, you know, spiritual healing and drums, you know, drum healing, and that's great, you know, and and that's got its place. But the problem for me, which I could never get my head around it, was I want to help Joe Blogs. You know,
Yeah,
you've got the spiritual church and you've got spiritual places you can go to and have spiritual healing, but only certain types of people go there. That was my problem. You know, it was only a certain kind of type of person that would go to any of those places, and it was in me all the time, this constant. But I want to help ordinary people. You know, how can I get to them? And you talk about spiritual healing to sort of ordinary people, and straight away they're like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, and they're not interested. And then I went into drum healing, which that just fell in my lap. It just happened. It was just one of those things. I absolutely love doing drum healing, but again, trying to get somebody to come to you for drum healing, you try and explain what it is, but they think again it's another one of those, you
Woo
know,
woo.
yeah, out there. I mean, somebody came to me to my home for spiritual healing and went, oh, I didn't think you'd look like that. And I was what do you mean? You know, and they were, oh, well, you're not all floating. I thought, no, I'm just ordinary. I'm just an ordinary person, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't need to be fluffy. But people have got that idea of about spiritual healing, or, you know,
Yeah.
same with driving, you know, they expected me to have bells and things around my ankles and braids in my hair, and, you know, and it's no, I'm just normal. So you know, I don't know, I wasn't comfortable going to these places to do this healing. I wanted to go out there and do it for everybody, so it was on my mind all the time. And I'd been listening to Bruce Lipton, who'd been talking about 0 to 7, and he
Yeah.
kept talking about these filters and things in people. And I was thinking, well, how can I bring the healing into that? And so yeah, it got on my nerves a lot. And this one day, I was shopping, and it started raining really heavily. I was miles away from the car. Ran into Costa's. I thought I'll just have a cup of coffee while it calms down. And so I sat at the table with my coffee, and the next thing I knew, 2 hours of my life had gone. My coffee was stone cold, and I was so embarrassed. I thought I must have fallen asleep. But in my mind, I got BTL kept going on in my mind, and back to life, and this process, and I I I I thought I'd lost the plot, if I'm honest. I didn't know what that was or what to do with it. I sort of ran out of the shop, left the coffee and just ran out of the shop with my shopping. And by the time I'd walked back to my car, which is probably about half a mile away, I'd dismissed everything that was in my mind, all this back to life and these filters, and I thought, you know, I must have dreamt that or something. But when I actually got to my car, sat in it and turned the key, the song blasted out the radio, back to life, back to reality.
Oh,
And I thought, oh,
so that's your
ah,
sign.
yeah. So I had a bit of a wobble then in the car and couldn't drive for a bit. I had to sort of get out and go for another walk in the rain. But just to process that. And by the time I got home, I knew it. I just knew it. I knew how it worked and what to do. And so I just say thank you very much, you know, because now I can help Joe Blogs,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. Just I can help ordinary people change their lives permanently.
Cool. Cool.
So I love
So,
it.
so how did you like sort of go from having that thought process, that gift
Sort of
downloaded into you, I
was it
suppose?
did.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm
how did you go from that process of getting all that information and knowing what to do with it?
It just took me a while. I mean, I already, before I got home, I knew it. It was just like it all sort of fit in my mind. It just, everything just went into a little slot in its own slot, and I just knew the process. I knew what to do. But then of course, and then for the next few weeks, I'm thinking, how how am I gonna do that with anybody? And so I also teach a 12-week psychic, spiritual and self-awareness course. And I was actually doing that at the time. And in this one particular group, there's this lady, and I'm sure I won't say her name, but she was about 73. So she, she'd lived a life. And I was talking with the group about filters, etc. And sometimes it can be something that you've heard. And this lady, who I found out was a multimillionairess, and she said to me, well, actually, maybe something like that happened to me then. She said, I don't know what it was. She said, but I can make money. She said, but I've never, ever been able to be in a relationship for longer than 2 years. She said, I just sabotage it. She said, I don't want to, but I just sabotage it. So I said, oh, okay. So in the group, well, I asked if everybody minded, etc. And I did BTL with this lady. And she went to a memory when she was about 5. And she was sitting at her kitchen table doing some drawing. And her mother was talking to a friend of hers. And they were talking about this little girl. And I can't remember the exact words now. I wish I'd written it down. But she said the friend said to the mother something like, well, she's so clever. Your daughter is so clever. She'll make her way in the world. She'll be a multi-millionairess. She said, but if she's got that gift, she'll probably never hold a relationship down for more than a couple of years.
Right.
And she heard that.
So that was her memory.
That was she heard it. It went boof, filter straight. And so, but she'd forgotten about that, obviously, because she was only 5 or whatever. But she was a multi-millionairess.
Yeah.
And she couldn't hold. So we changed the memory. We changed it. We were in that memory. She was speaking this memory, and we changed it. And I saw her just before we went into the lockdown. She's 79, and she'd been in a relationship from the age of 74. So she's so thrilled because it's the longest she's ever been in a relationship. Because as soon as we altered the filter, changed the filter, well, moved it, got rid of it completely. As soon as we did that, she just met this guy and she's been with him ever since.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking a few years. And she messaged, well, actually, she didn't message me, but she got a message to me and to say that, she couldn't thank me enough because all her life she's had that filter, and then she was angry because she hadn't met me sooner.
Yeah.
But it's simple as that. It's as simple as that. I had a simple experience myself with mentally disabled people, physically disabled people. I never knew why I'd got this thing because I'm kind, and I wouldn't dream of being not horrible, but but anyway, let's put it like this: if somebody was coming towards me in a wheelchair, I would cross the road. If somebody in the room, and it made it difficult for me because having a restaurant, people came in.
Yeah.
And I physically couldn't cope with it. I didn't know why. I never knew why. I just couldn't fathom it out. And a couple of years ago, because I do BTL with myself all the time, but a couple of years ago, for some reason, I just suddenly went into this memory. And it was when I was little and I was holding my mum's hand and she was talking to the lady over the road about the thalidomide children. And they were talking about and having no limbs and they were saying all kinds of awful things. And that was the filter for me. I only heard, and from that, I couldn't cope with disabled people. Since I've moved the filter, I'm sitting on their laps. I'm in there. I've got no problem with it. But I didn't realise. I never realised myself. I didn't even really think about the fact that I'd got a problem. I just thought it was one of those things. But I don't have that issue anymore. It doesn't bother me anymore. So I'm glad I found that one.
Yeah. So what would you say is your obviously you talked about the lady that came to your group. What would you say is your most surprising outcome?
Well, a lady came. I didn't know she'd got any physical problems. She didn't tell me she had. Obviously, she came for which I can't repeat, obviously, but she came for her own reason. But I had no idea. She'd got scoliosis in her shoulders, and she couldn't move her head, and she'd had it for many years. And we sorted out a memory with her, which was nothing to do with her neck or anything like that. And by the time she got home, it had completely gone.
Wow.
She hasn't had it since. So spontaneous healing that happens to people. Somebody else came, unbeknownst to me, they had asthma all their life. And she came about, well, nothing to do with asthma. And she's never had asthma since. Another lady came, unbeknownst to me, she was an alcoholic. I didn't know that. And she came to me, and it was an issue with her and her little brother when they were little. And she hasn't touched a drop of alcohol since.
Wow.
I mean, she's had no side effects. The only side effects to BTL are spontaneous healing.
Yeah.
That's your side effect. It can't harm you. It can't do anything mentally. If you come and do BTL with me, either you do it and it works, or you haven't done it and it doesn't work. So you either leave in exactly the same condition you came in, or you go and something will have shifted.
Does it always is it always immediate, or sometimes does it take a few days or maybe a few weeks for things to shift?
The spontaneous healing seems to just happen sort of straight away. It just starts, your body sort of just starts repairing itself. It depends what you've got. I mean, that lady, clearly, she got this scoliosis, neck, shoulders, spine, which, however that works, I'm not sure. But it had gone by the time she got home.
Wow.
So the energy of the emotion that she was holding, that filter, she was clearly holding it in her neck, But I know that she had that problem because she didn't tell me. She came for something else. She came for her own reason. But that's the thing. It's no good coming if you've got a preconceived idea of what you think your problem is, because none of them match. The memory actually doesn't fit, if you're looking at it, with your condition or your problem. So it's best to just listen to me, just go with the emotion, because then you'll go to the right place instead of where you think you should go. Some people go back to the womb. And that's amazing because they're wide awake. I mean, I'm not sending you off anywhere. It's not a meditation. You're not hypnotized. You're just in the room and you're talking to me and I'm talking to you. It's best if you have your eyes closed, because then you've got nothing to disturb your thoughts. Because you drop into a memory. It just naturally happens. You sort of just go to a memory. And people say to me, yeah, but it's nothing to do with that. I say, yeah, but you don't know that. So go with that memory, because that's the one that's come with that emotion. Yeah, but that's a lollipop. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. And it works. If they listen and go there, it works. And other people don't always notice that anything's changed, but other people notice that they've changed. Because if you think about it, when that filter goes, everything throughout your whole life that was attached to that filter, all of your behaviours, that all drops away at the same time, because if the filter's not there, it can't attach itself to anything. So things that happen when you were 19, 25, 40, 50, 60, all those things that you think of, these horrendous situations that happened in your life and how it felt, when you move that filter, all of that goes as well. So
Yeah.
if you think about those memories, nothing happens in your body. Whereas before, if you thought about it, you'd be like, you go into
Yeah.
that. But you can't, because the filter's not there. And it takes all of it.
Cool.
And a lot of people can't stop yawning. When you remove the filter,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are they just can't control themselves yawn. People leave with mascara down their face. I mean, and some of the guys that come, one of the guys in particular, he said to me, "Thank God I'm not a woman." He said, because the way I've cried, he said, I looked a clown when I left. And people do, I have to take them into the bathroom and say, hang on, before you go, just go in there, you know, because, I mean, people...
Yeah. But would you say, because like for me, when I'm healing, I do a lot of yawning, or I sneeze when I'm releasing my client's energy. So would that be the same as them releasing their own energy?
Yeah, but they're doing it. Yeah, but that's what happens. They let go of the energy of that memory, so they let go of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed was, the more powerful that filter was, the yawning is unbelievable. I mean, they just can't control themselves.
No.
You know, I did some with a lady online last week, and she had to go in the end because she couldn't talk, because she was uncontrollably yawning. You know, and you do, but it's a good sign. It's a good sign. I mean, some people don't yawn. You know, they just, but they've probably sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Some people cry.
Yeah.
But I found that when I'm working with people and they actually do drop into a memory, very often that emotion that they've been carrying all their life comes to the surface, and they might cry, but it's only for seconds, because I don't let them stay in that energy for any length of time, because it's uncomfortable. So I change it with them within seconds, and then they're laughing. Then they could be hysterical laughing or crying with laughter, and you know, and then we finish it off, and then they're yawning, and they just keep apologizing. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But okay, it's a good thing. I've got tissues everywhere.
Yeah.
I do get through a lot of tissues.
Yeah. If anybody's got any questions, please feel free to post them up for Martine. Just going back to because I've had a session with you. Martine very kindly last year did one of her amazing acrylic paint readings for me, which hopefully we can get you back on to do an evening. This brilliant.
This is for tonight, so this shows you the energy of tonight.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's lovely.
Beautiful. So she kept saying to me, you must come and see me. You must come and see me and do this therapy. So I've always had, as an adult, abandonment issues. So when I was telling Martine what I was feeling and thinking, I kind of, through my own self-healing, kind of thought I knew where this memory had come from, which would have been to do with there was two people, my dad and my younger sister. Now, my dad, it wasn't until, I'm in my mid-50s now, so it was about 10 years ago, having a family discussion, it came about that my dad used to work away when I was little, and he would be away for 6 weeks at a time, because obviously at that time, there wasn't any proper jobs and there wasn't the money to support his family here, so he would go away to work. So that was where I thought my memories were coming from. And plus the other one was my younger sister, who is she's only 14 months younger than me. And my earliest memory of Linda was I'd woken up one Saturday morning and her bed was empty. And unbeknown to me, she'd been rushed to hospital in the night. So when Martine had taken me into the memory that I thought I was going into, I actually kind of went further back.
Yeah.
Because I thought my memory was when I was 4 or 5, around that age. But when you took me back, I'd gone back to a 1-year-old, 18-month-old. And it was actually my mum.
It was.
It was my mum, yeah. And talking to you the other day, we were like sort of discussing that about my journey with you. And I said, actually, even though I go and see my mum every weekend now, especially through lockdown, I've noticed in myself that I'm more compassionate towards my mum. I don't get frustrated with my mum so much as I used to. So what I was interested, I hadn't noticed that at first until we were speaking the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought, actually,
yeah.
That's why I wanted to know whether it's an immediate thing or whether sometimes it can take a time.
No, it isn't that it is immediate. It's just that because you haven't got the filter, you're not looking for anything to do with it. Because it's not there. It's gone. The energy's gone. Everything that was attached to it's gone. And so why would you even think about it? It's not even there.
Yeah.
So because it's not in you anymore, you don't think to think about it.
Yeah.
So it's not until, that's what I mean, other people notice very often that you're doing something differently, or something's changed about you.
Yeah.
And it takes going back like we did and talking about it for you to go, oh, hold on a minute. And then you noticed that your attitude was different towards your mum.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I wouldn't say, because I was saying like sort of mum's quite, I would say she's a bit of a martyr, but you kind of like sort of when I was describing it, her life, it came through you that it was her sense of duty.
Yeah.
To care for other people, to care for other members of the family. And we got a Facebook user saying, hi, Martine, this is very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So like sort of from my first divorce, which is going back over 20 years ago, she would ring me every day, sometimes twice a day. And I used to get it. I used to feel smothered. And that I couldn't like sort of just be free. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And my only release would be when she went away on holiday, because I wouldn't get those twice daily phone calls. I mean, like sort of now she rings me up every day. We ring at the same time every day, but I don't get that feeling.
Yeah.
There isn't that feeling there anymore.
Well,
that frustration. Sorry?
The filter's not there.
Yeah.
As soon as you move the filter, everything does change.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, phobias are easier to deal with. But and having said that, I find that traumas are easy to deal with.
Right.
People that have had trauma in their life, I find those much easier to deal with. Because it's easier to go to a memory. I need to have an emotion to work with, and so when they're speaking to me, as we are now, about the trauma, you see the energy starts coming up into their body, and so I get them to shut their eyes then and let them work with that energy, which takes you straight back then to whatever created the energy. And when it's a trauma, it's easier to do, and you can do it like that. It's that quick. They can't believe it. That they've only been sat there for 5 minutes, but it's gone. But they know something's different, you know, and people that haven't been able to sleep for years, they just sleep, you know. But you know, people come for all kinds of reasons, but they're never really what they came for, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, it's because I can't tell them until we've got an emotion and we go there. I can't tell them, and I can't tell them what will change. My sister, for instance, I mean, this is really bizarre because all her married life, then she would not do any ironing. I mean, and she was a very, very house proud person, and everything was always spotless and in its place. But ironing, there was baskets of it hidden and stashed away. She just wouldn't do it, and it
Sounds a
was
bit like
only.
me.
But my nan used to iron for a living, and
Right.
I love ironing, and my nan used to iron for a living. And when we were little, Tracy, my sister, used to spend quite a bit of time with my nan, and we loved their nan, you know. But I did some of this BTL, and she didn't do it for anything to do with ironing or anything to do with my nan. It was a completely different thing altogether. And she started having this emotion with him. We went with the emotion, and suddenly she's with Nan. And it was something about a light being switched off and being sat in the dark, being in the dark, and nothing to do with ironing. But since we did that filter, she can't stop ironing. She's
Wow.
washing things so she can iron it.
Flying. Yeah.
Yeah, so a side effect. So that's a side effect. That's what I
Yeah.
call the, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously, the reason we were doing the BTL, that was healed, but the side effect was she suddenly can't stop ironing, so she had to go and buy a big, like, you know, these industrial type irons and ironing board, and she's in her element now, ironing away. You know, I can see the difference in her from doing
Yeah.
BTL. And to me, I mean, she's a different person every time we do it. I
Yeah.
talk to her a few days later, and it's like, oh, who are you? You know,
Yeah.
because she's not the same, and it's really nice because there's lots of spontaneous healing happening all the time.
Yeah. Cool. The other thing I was going to let you know, and it's only come up since between us talking about coming on tonight, and it was going back to when I came to see you. The I can't remember what the other emotion I went to, but I'd gone back and I was a very young child, but I had a visitation from, I believe it might have been my great grandmother, and she would come and visit me. But then it took me back to before I was born.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was on a FaceTime with my cousin in America the end of last week. And we got, he lost his wife sadly a couple of years ago, a year ago. And we were talking about life after death and, you know,
Yeah.
what we believed. And he just suddenly came out and he said, you went to stay with grandma when you were a baby, didn't you? So I said, yeah, when my mum was having my younger sister. So I would have been 14 months old. He said, well, he said, I can remember grandma saying that you would stand in the end of the cot looking into space, talking to somebody. And I immediately went back to our conversation,
Yeah,
and maybe that was when it
probably.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I can't say I can remember the ins and outs of that because, if I'm honest, people come here, we do the work, and when they've gone, sometimes I see them in the street and I don't recognise them.
yeah, yeah,
And talk about what I can't remember.
yeah,
Can't
yeah,
remember any of it. I can't remember. I mean, I've had to look to see who I might be able to give you an example of.
yeah,
You know, appointment wise, names that people I
yeah,
might know that we've talked about it since, so it jogged my memory. But if I'm totally honest, if you come in this room and we do BTL and you leave, I just can't remember
yeah,
anything that happened that you did.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's a bit, I mean, I'm glad in one respect, because some of the things I hear, I probably wouldn't want to have those in my mind and my memory, you know. So I know people come and tell me horrendous things, but I can't remember it after. So good thing. The way I did it, you know, it was given to me as a gift. I didn't go and train. I'm so humbled that it was given to me, you know. And so maybe, you know, because I do hear lots of things that I'm not meant to remember them, you know, because it's gone. Because whatever that energy was has been taken, left the body, left everything. So it's left me as well.
And I think that's part of being a healer as well, though, isn't it? You're there for that moment in time to help that person. And then I mean, obviously you work really closely with your guides and your spirit helpers, and
that one in particular, he's my best friend. He's definitely my best friend.
Cool.
And he does help. And if I'm honest, I mean, I can't give you an example, I mean, because I can't remember. But what I do know is that when somebody sat there and some of the things that I'm being told, me, Martine, wouldn't have a clue what to say to somebody that experienced that. If you see what I mean. It doesn't work like that, because I just know. I know everything. And it's as if when they go into the memory, I can actually see the memory myself. It's like I can see it. Well, I can, and I think the reason for that is so that I don't let them stay in that for more than seconds.
Right. Okay.
I think. I mean, I could be making that up as I go along, you know. But to me, it feels like. I mean, and it's almost like I can see everything in that memory myself. So I know then what to say immediately to them so that they can change that. And so they're not in the trauma or the drama or whatever that is that they suffered then as a filter. I mean, but all filters aren't like that. I mean, there was one about with a little boy with a lolly, a nice lolly, and it was snatched off him by his father out in the street, and another family and their child bought this lolly for this little boy, and it was snatched off him saying he didn't deserve it.
Right.
That was a memory. I mean, I've got that one written down, and I asked his permission, and he said I could speak about that anytime in my courses as well. And his whole life he was second to everything. He was always second. Very, very clever, very capable, but he didn't deserve it. So every time anything was good, he would sabotage it. So he was never worth it. He didn't deserve it. And he went through his whole life, well, not his whole life. I mean, I think he was about in his late 30s when he came to see me. But he couldn't understand why he kept sabotaging everything. He just couldn't fathom it out. And his wife was getting a bit fed up with it as well, because they were doing really well, and then he'd just trash it in some way. And he went straight to this memory with this lolly, this ice lolly, and his father saying he didn't deserve it, snatched the reward, if you like, away from him, and he changed that. I mean, he's flying. He's off now in his life there. They've got a great life, you know, but as simple as that, a lollipop. You know, someone else came and their memory was about milk. I mean, I mean, you know, that's why you shouldn't have a preconceived idea. That was a phobia, actually. I mean, the phobias I tend to remember more because I don't know why, but phobias, they stay in my mind. Not all of the details, but yeah, there was a phobia, and it was about milk. It was. She didn't have a phobia to do with milk, but it was this memory with this milk that created this phobia about these spiders later on. I can't explain it to you because I can't remember it, but I know it was, we went back to school
Yeah.
and it was about milk. And now she doesn't have the spider phobia.
Phobia.
So that's why never have a preconceived idea of what
Yeah.
you think caused it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Obviously,
really weird
trauma.
how our mind works, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
like sort of, I know, like sort of doing like the stress and anxiety management course, and it's all about like sort of at that age, we haven't got the mental capacity to process it in a positive way. So even positive experiences could have a negative impact in an
They do.
adult life.
Yeah,
It's the
they
way
do.
that
Yeah.
we process it as a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had a lady that was so spoiled as a child. I mean, she'd got, there was a whole wall of presents and she wasn't allowed to play with them. But the mother needed everybody else to see how much this child had got. And
Yeah.
it was awful. I can't remember it. I can't give you any more than that because I can't remember I just can't remember. But there was a memory in there which we had to change because she was a mess. She was having all kinds of counselling because of being spoiled. You
Yeah.
know, and yet not spoiled. Spoiled, giving it but taken away at the same time. It was really. I mean, you can't imagine that a grown woman is going to be having a real proper traumatic life in her adulthood because she was spoiled and then it taken and given and taken and given, and don't open it, leave it in the box and just put it on the shelf so that
Right.
friends could come in and see that her child had got all this, you know.
Right. Okay.
It was
Yeah.
that thing,
Yeah.
you know, but that's all I can remember about it, so I can't tell you anymore. Yeah, was in a real state. I can remember her coming in and she was in a real state. And so I'm thinking, oh, crumbs, you know, what kind of trauma am I dealing with?
Yeah.
And you don't expect it to be presents,
No.
bows and presents and cake, and don't expect it to be that. But it was. So
Wow.
she's fine now. I think she's
Good.
okay. I'll see her with her children.
So
Oh,
Chloe's interested in possibly having a session with you, and she would like to know how much your sessions cost.
well, the first one cost £25, which might be all you need because sometimes you only need one session. And then it's £20 after. So it's £25 for the first one, £20 for any additional ones. And I would say over the years, I would say average is say 3 sessions. Average it depends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm honest, I do it to myself all the time. You
Yeah.
know, it's a regular thing for me. And so, you know, the other thing that I can say is that people come and there's clearly trauma, but they're not actually ready to go to it, so they go to other filters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
so
So it's like peeling an onion back.
sometimes, not always, but some people, yes. And I'm a great believer in they'll come for as many times as they need to. There'll be a reason why they might come 4 times. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had people that have come 7 times because their life keeps changing so much for the better. They come back because they want to do more. They want to get rid of more of these filters, if you see what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
But generally, I'd say sort of an average of 3 times, but once, twice,
Yeah.
3. Phobias particularly, usually that's once.
Yeah.
Again, providing people don't come with a preconceived idea, because if they do, I have to work really hard with them to get them past
Past
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they get it stuck in their mind. I know what caused it, and
Yeah.
actually it wasn't that. It's something even smaller, because
Yeah.
those memories are so small. or insignificant that you don't think they could possibly actually have an effect on the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But they do. They do.
And she says, how long does a session generally last?
Well, if you don't come with a preconceived idea, I'll say the first time, an hour, maybe less, maybe more. It depends on individual people.
Yeah.
I mean, one lady came and it took me 3 hours because she had so many preconceived ideas. It took that long to get to the actual memory, which was like nothing really. And then, hallelujah, couldn't stop yawning, and off she went. And actually, she's a lady who's never touched a drop of alcohol since.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
we did something, but I didn't know she was an alcoholic. She actually told me that a month later that she was, But if you come the second time, then we've already done the work. So we only need an emotion. It could take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be that quick. It can take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So the first one takes longer.
Yeah.
Because of the process that I need to go through with you first. But it's not meditation. It's not hypnotherapy. Well, you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sending you off anywhere. You're still here in the room.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aware of you talking to me. I'm aware of you telling me where to find my memory. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
So
can,
it's kind of like sort of, obviously you got me to close my eyes and you got me to do some deep breathing just to allow my body to relax.
Yeah.
So it's just to get you into a relaxed state for you to begin your work. Yeah.
But then I'm revving you up then.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be all chilled and relaxed. I want you to have
To
the
feel
emotion.
it. Yeah.
So obviously the first time that you would come, I'd have to already have an idea of a trigger.
Right.
So that we're in that, because the first time you do it, you go into that lovely, you just relax.
Yeah.
But then I'm talking to you then about the reason you've come to see me, which immediately then you're not feeling relaxed now, you're feeling this whatever that is, and then we just go with that. But obviously, if you come the second time, we've already dealt with the beginning of the first time, and we're just talking. We'll just be sat like we are now. We're just chatting away, and you're telling me how you feel about a situation in your life, and I encourage you to talk, to give, to really tell me how you feel about it. Which then this emotion just suddenly appears from nowhere, and then I'll say, "Shut your eyes now." And we deal with that, and it's done. And it can take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But some people come and we do 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you just can. Once you're doing it, you can do more, lots.
Yeah. So do you I mean, like, sort of, obviously once somebody comes to you and they're opening up with an issue, do you find, I mean, like we said about peeling off the layers of an onion, does it often bring up I suppose deep-seated issues that they've got buried and not recognized?
Oh,
like sort of help to bring that to the surface?
Go straight there. You'd go straight to it. You would just go straight to it. But I don't know what happened. I don't know. As soon as you start off with an emotion, then I just seem to know the right things to say, because I could even ask you about colours.
Yeah.
I might not ask you about anything to do with a memory in that point. I might just ask you what colour that feeling, what colour is that feeling?
Right, okay,
and very often that colour, then I know exactly where they're going to go with it, and I just say whatever I can't tell you what I say because I can't remember.
Well, it's all individual, isn't it?
Yeah. And they just go straight to a memory, and then they're like, crikey, but I didn't know I knew this.
Yeah.
But do, clearly they know it. They can describe everything, and
So a lot of it would probably be subconscious, in their
it's
subconscious.
all of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
The thing is, from the age of 0 to 7, the brain is only developed to theta,
yeah,
or whatever you want to call that. And so that means it absorbs everything. You don't actually have a conscious mind until you're 8.
right.
We're talking science now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're in theta mode. So this is how it's all about learning. We copy everybody. So we
Yeah, well,
learn
that, yes, yeah,
to talk, use a knife and fork, put your
yeah,
shoes. You're learning those kind of things, and you copy your parents and your siblings and your neighbours, and you hear everything. And these days, television, iPads, phones, so that you're just absorbing everything.
yeah,
You can't actually do much about it. You're just absorbing, and so this is when all your filters go in, good and bad. And
yeah,
then you the age of 8, and then your brain develops into a conscious mind, and so everything is now tucked away in the subconscious mind. And so from the age of 8, you react from all of the filters that you carefully put into place,
right.
the age of 0 to 7. But having said that, we still create filters when we're adults. For instance, learning to drive. So
Yeah,
that when you get in the car for the first time, I mean, you are so focused on the steering wheel and where the brake is, what you're going to do with your feet, legs,
yeah,
and so it's repetition, and you do it and you do it, and then you learn it, but it's repetition. So when you're driving up the motorway at 60 or 70 or 90, whatever mile an hour you do, and you're not even thinking about driving, you're talking to your mate sitting next to you, or you're listening to something on the radio, blah. Who's driving the car? Actually, who drove you for those
yeah.
hours?
Yeah, quite often. How did I get here?
Yeah. Well, that's the subconscious mind. It kicks in straight away and drives. The
Right.
subconscious mind, it works all by its little self, and it drives that car. You're not actually there. You're not driving it. The subconscious mind does. And if you could be a fly on the window and see yourself, what you would see is that in those moments you drive exactly how your driving instructor taught you. There's no habits. You don't have any bad habits
Yeah,
because the subconscious mind is doing it from a repetition from how you learned it. Then when you're not actually there driving, the subconscious mind drives, and it drives exactly how your instructor taught you. So the subconscious mind, you can still change things in your subconscious mind
yeah.
without doing the BTL, but you have to know what you need to change.
Cool. Yeah. So if somebody was interested in coming to you for a treatment, um, how would they get hold of you?
Well, you could ring me, or you could message me on Facebook Messenger, or ring me, whatever,
Yeah.
whichever.
Or even if like sort of if they can leave a message maybe underneath the link on my group page for
Yeah,
this,
yeah, any,
and tag you in it.
yeah, no
Um,
problem.
well, it's been a really fascinating evening, Martine.
You mean we
Before,
finished?
sorry.
We finished.
Yeah, we're coming to the end. If there's anybody
Oh,
that would like to ask any last questions for Martine,
I could
then
just
please
calm
do
my
so
nerves down now. There's only water in this bottle.
now. She says. Chloe says, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And it's no, it is. I
Well,
mean, like, we were both nervous because I haven't interviewed anybody before, so I hope it's all come across okay. Martine hasn't done anything like this
no,
before,
no.
so
Can I just say, obviously with the restrictions how they are at the moment, I can still do BT online like this.
yeah, yeah,
Do it like this. I'm doing it like this all the time at the moment, and it's there's no difference. It works exactly the same.
yeah.
Just just so you know.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry.
That's all right. And obviously going back to Martine's wonderful picture that she did earlier on, maybe we could get you back in a few weeks to come and explain and maybe demonstrate your lovely acrylic art readings, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
Yes. Yeah.
I was trying to think how long ago. It must be 4 or 5 years ago, if not longer, at the psychic fairs that we do.
Yeah.
Martine was doing these readings, and I had my first one, and it was amazing. Amazing.
So I've done a few this week, so I need to post these to people because obviously I'm doing these online, but I'll have to post them.
Wow.
Did I post you yours?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think. Oh, hang on a minute. I might have got mine here.
Show me.
I'm just trying to find which way it went up. That way. Can you see?
Oh yes, now I remember.
Yeah. With my goddess at the top.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah. No, I remember it. Yeah. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. Yours. I really enjoyed doing that. It was very interesting.
Cool. So Anne says, thanks for a really interesting hour. Well, thank you for joining us, Anne. And next week, I've got a young lady joining me. She's close to my heart because she's actually my daughter. And we're going to be talking about her journey. She's in the last 3-4 years been diagnosed with bipolar. So she's going to she's been very brave and did her own video the end of last week explaining how it's affected her life and how it affects hers. But we're going to be talking as a family as well, how like sort of it affects the rest of the family and my thoughts, how you know, like sort of how I can help her as a mum. So that will be next week. So look forward to you all joining us then. Till then, see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.